Now we're going to take a look at Ethereum. It is the market leader for crypto, at least to the upside. And again, I just covered Bitcoin. It could lead the market to the downside, gave you key trigger points. So if you're watching the recording of this, you'll want to watch my Bitcoin video for the day to have those trigger points. At what level would Bitcoin drag down at both Ethereum and most of crypto, and how far down and how fast would it go on the exact timing of that, and how Bitcoin would behave and on those key levels. So, but for Ethereum, I'm going to show you a very simple way to look at the chart here that you might, hopefully you appreciate. All right. We have I guess a rectangle here, two halves, so a rectangle. See this? And it's split in half by the top of this rally and all these perfect wicks. All right. The top of the rectangle is the top of the consolidation, both before the most recent local high and the consolidation after that high. And I have it labeled, the top of that box is at 1925. These nice handy labels. The bottom of this rectangle is formed by, actually I have this label too, the daily 89 and the weekly 10. They are coming together, and that's roughly what the price point is here. Any price action within this, I still think it is a question mark on I guess the big question.
Give me the thumbs up. Thumbs up. Thumbs up.
I just scared the shit out of myself. I almost pissed my pants. I did not mean to press that. I actually jumped. I wish you could have seen it. It's like, what is going on? All right. Whoo. All right. Hopefully I never press that one again on accident. Anyway, wow. Okay. Holy shit. What was I trying to push? Okay. Anyway, so I don't think that it'll necessarily navigate all of these, but there is one way to think about this. I was making myself big to say this. The big question that I mentioned at the early onset of the Bitcoin portion of this is this a bear market rally that we're in? Therefore, it'll end sometime rather soon. Maybe 2 weeks out, maybe now, maybe it's already over, right? Or is what we saw the bottom, and we're getting a reversal both in traditional markets and in crypto, right? So that's what this box is going to help visualize, right? That's the big question in crypto. I'm going to show you an easy way to try to navigate that, because even though I personally made an early aggressive call that it was a bear market rally and it's over now, it easily could be wrong, right? Because I addressed it and I labeled my call as such. It is an early and aggressive call. But this box here, all right, and I showed you how to set up the same type of box with the top, the bottom, and how to split it in the middle from these wicks, is at any point that you're in either triangle, it is still a question mark of the big question. Are we in a bear market rally, which will end, or did we already hit bottom and we're in a reversal and we're going to continue up? However, if you're in the red triangle, the higher up in this triangle that you are, the better percentage chances you get within a certain, I don't think it would go up to 100% chance, right? But the greater and greater that you are getting close to having a solid edge to the up direction. All right. So if you're at the top of this, maybe you have a tiny bit of edge for trading to the upside that, hey, this high, essentially the edge of, is this height going to be broken again? Or was that the top of the bear market rally? The edge increases, but I don't think you have a true edge, like a tradable edge of continuation to the upside above this 2000. Here, let me put a marker in this. To 2008 or 2033. But really, if you get over 2000, you're going above this. So it's more like, do we get a break above 2000 again or not? Essentially is what this is. I don't think you have a true edge for that until 1925 is used as support. Just getting so if price, if price just gets above it, I don't think the edge for continuation above 2K is confirmed. I don't think you have a strong edge, a tradable edge, after it's used as support and then starts ticking up. Then you have a tradable edge with the confidence that this will be broken and continuation to the upside. And am I making sense? But As you get higher, but before that happens, as you get higher and higher in this red portion, this red half of the overall rectangle, your chances, they're getting slightly higher. So down here, your chances for upside might be, it might be dead even. It might even be 40% upside, something to that effect, or 50% up that side, something that's not a statistically tradable edge. And as you get higher, it might be 51%, 52%, 53%. And here, boom, okay, we're 60% edge. Bam, we can trade to the upside with confidence. And same for the inverse to the downside. But the cool thing about this is the downside is defined by some really strong EMAs that are aligning. The daily 89, which is your, and again, I've for returning viewers, sorry to bore you with this, but the daily 89 is essentially your litmus test. It is the key zone or target, both for resistance and support for bear market rallies, and how the juncture of when a bear market rally is no more, and actually it's a reversal that's going to continue going to all-time highs. And it works in traditional markets too. It's like the one, right? And it's lined up perfectly with the strongest single indicator out there, both in traditional markets and crypto, which is the weekly 10. So naturally, if you go below this, and again, inverse, so I said above this and use as support, but if you go below these two and use as resistance, then your edge very greatly flips, perhaps even a better edge than what you'd have here for the upside, but your edge to the downside would greatly increase. And that is, so using this nice little, Ethereum is like a nice clean chart right here. I actually feel, I don't know if the proud is the word, but like this should make sense to even, somebody who hasn't looked at price charts before. Have a nice 2-color rectangle split into 2 triangles and defining when you have edge to either side. So how big is this range? That's a whole 10%. You can trade in this range, absolutely. I'm not saying, don't trade unless it breaks out. Yeah, there's plenty of money to be made in here. So I don't want to come across of that. But in terms of a continuation type of move, I don't think you have an edge until this happens. And Ethereum, for the upside, is going to define that much quicker than Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's being a dog. So for the big question on the table, is this a bear market rally, or is what we saw down here, is this a true reversal and we're off to the races now? I think only ETH for crypto can answer that question right now. Could that change in the next 2 weeks? Yeah, maybe. But right now, it's not going to be BTC that's going to trigger the answer to that question for the upside answer. It's going to be ETH. And that's why I think this chart's really important. And if we, actually, I'm kind of curious. I bet it would align to some degree. But I wonder how far this would be on Bitcoin. So that's about 7.5%. Let me go back to Bitcoin. Where would Bitcoin be? So Ethereum edge to the downside. Okay. All right. Well, that actually makes freaking sense. I'm really glad that aligned. All right. Woo! This is perfect. I did not plan this. Thank goodness this is almost perfect. So you saw it was 7.5% downside when you have an edge for the Ethereum trigger, right? Look at what this is. It's just wildly 7.5%. And what is that? That's the bottom of the trading range. So if you go below this and use it as resistance, that perfectly aligns with what we're talking about on Ethereum. Perfectly aligns, right? For my Bitcoin video, I wasn't, so I did define an edge as this line. This is a short-term time frame edge. This would not be macro edge, like 𝘃𝐢𝐬𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸 is right. You don't have an edge on that quite yet. Really, Bitcoin could come all the way down here and bounce and then go off to the moon. And I'd be dead wrong. I would just look right for a little bit. Similar to the idea of falling with style. Like, you think you're right with style, but you're not. It's sayonara, sucker. So I want to be careful. I actually did not define that during the Bitcoin portion. This is your short-term time frame trading edge to the downside, but to the more macro sense, getting a strong continuation move that could last a few months, I think it would be a breakdown below this trading range. All right. So, however, you can attack that a little earlier. If you break below so on Bitcoin, if you break below this and use it as resistance, let's see what that would be on Ethereum. I know this is an Ethereum video, but so to go down 2%, and then test whatever. Where is it at right now? So if you want to do an earlier aggressive call on it, it would be similar to Ethereum breaking below this and using it as resistance. So if you wanted to front run the bigger signal down here, you would use Ethereum 821 as resistance, so you could front run this being used as resistance. But if you do that, you'd want to be very careful because it could easily take a big bounce from here, right? So if you were to trade something like that, resistance, and maybe hitting this line again, resistance, you would probably want to take profits and look to re-enter on another bounce up. I wouldn't see it just flying down from here. I would fully expect a bounce from here. So be careful if you try to front run the signal using this. You'd want to do a couple entries and treat the first trade to the downside as a shorter time frame one. And that, yeah, so hopefully, I mean, feel free to snapshot this and put this like on your own chart. And for the daily 89 and weekly 10, I just drew them in because they move so slowly anyway. But you can use the EMF or MTF EMA indicator to throw these on and keep them on if you want. Hell, I'll just throw on the weekly 10 right now so you can see. Boom. So I'm just guessing where it's going to go. It could be a little higher, thus it shrinks this triangle a little bit, but right now it's perfectly symmetrical based off where I have this projected. So anyway, that is Ethereum, and I hope this helps guide you throughout, the next potential week and a half or so, because it could chop around in here for quite a while and go on both sides of this line here. It could do that. So hopefully this helps guide you throughout the whole time until we get stronger resolution on one side or the other within this 10% range. And again, there's plenty of things to trade within this range.